The NFL and fantasy sports can make you feel at the top of your game, or like the alien that got punched in the face by Will Smith on Independence Day when they welcome you down to earth. That's how it was for me last week after week 7, but I'm going to jump back on the horse, get back on the right train this week. 4 more must-start players in a week that's full of every NFL team. We're starting off with Calvin Ridley, who's been left at the train station by most of you. He's wide receiver 30 on Football Guys weekly ranks. He's got 43% of the air yard share in Jacksonville. Why is that a good thing? Well, the Steelers play single high safety at the 7th highest rate in the NFL and are giving up the 3rd most yards per game to outside receivers at 147 yards per game. Calvin Ridley fits that mold. The Steelers are 30th in man coverage played this season. The Saints were 4th last week, and that's why Calvin Ridley ended up not having a great game. He's also playing a lot on the outside and running those routes to the outside and just down the field, where you have a lot less separation created there, and he's got bracketed quite a bit. And 288 of his yards this season have come against zone. That is the vast majority of them. Calvin Ridley's percentage of in-breaking routes this season is 7.1%. That just has to change, and I think it's going to change going forward. Pittsburgh is also 4th in fantasy points given up to wide receivers this season. So let's talk about Calvin Ridley. How can he get back on it this week, and how are they going to be able to get him the ball against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, it starts off with plays like this. He's in a stack formation to your right-hand side. They're going to motion him from right to left. Just a very simple idea of the defense, and then he's just going to run an in-breaker. We're going to see 2 plays here where he runs an in-breaking route. This one's just a little bit of a drag, but he gets around the defense and just finds himself in the middle of the field. Get him some of these targets, quick ones. You don't need to get him all the air yards targets. I mean, look, this would be very easy if he just was able to get him the football. Now, eyes of the quarterback also lend itself to the defense being out of position a little bit, but at the same time, these in-breakers are run, one, because it can help get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quickly and get these receivers into a type of rhythm. Calvin Ridley might be a little bit more of a rhythm-based player where he gets going early and then you start to see him win throughout the rest of the game. And then I know that his numbers against man coverage haven't been great, but it's not like the film hasn't been. This is a really nice route, an in-breaking route, again, against man coverage where you're going to see him release to the outside, beat the corner underneath, and then break open over the middle of the field. All of that to say that he's still an explosive lateral player that can manipulate corners. He, again, really does a nice job of getting outside and pushing this corner to his left, and then he's going to release underneath, and then the cornerback's at the mercy of Calvin Ridley. He does a really nice job of releasing, again, outside, comes underneath, a little bit of hesitation, hand usage, and completes that route open over the middle of the field. I mean, I can't do this without showing you guys that this was actually a catch. I think we were able to slow it down a little bit to show that he did get both feet in bounds, but this was a heat check from Trevor Lawrence that I don't necessarily think that many other quarterbacks make in the NFL, and Ridley absolutely got both feet in bounds. But when I say heat check, this is a really nice job of seeing, again, you've got man-to-man coverage. When he's looking at this safety, he sees one thing after the snap. Oh, here he is. He's going to creep underneath. So he's going to take a little bit of a heat check down the field. He puts this in an absolute bucket. And every single time going forward with Calvin Ridley against zone coverage, I'm taking a chance that Trevor Lawrence is going to get him on the right page. Coming out of a mini bye this week from the Thursday night game last week, they're going to have an opportunity to get him some scheme touches. It looks like Zay Jones is going to be back this week, which will help move him around, play the Z a little bit, get him moved around, and get him some scheme touches. So Calvin Ridley's back on the horse this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Play him. I know it's tough, but you absolutely should. The next guy we're going to talk about is also falling on tougher times as he gets up there in age and the effectiveness isn't what it was. Derrick Henry, currently running back 19 on Football Guys weekly ranks. He was the RB6 the week before his bye, and the Titans could be looking to shop him, and this is an opportunity to get him as many touches as possible. He's fresh after a bye. Get that going. Derrick Henry has 18 points or more in each home game this season. That includes the London game, which was a home game for the Titans, and he's coming off of a bye since 2018. He averages 111 yards, 18 carries, and 2 touchdowns per game. That's incredible. Like, this is coming off of a bye. It's a prime spot. I know it's the Falcons, but he's 9th in missed tackles forced on the season with 20, 18th in yards after contact per attempt with 3.12 yards, and second in runs of 15 or more yards, as Derrick Henry always is in this department. He just gets it done year after year. So this is a really fun play concept that they did a lot against the Ravens, letting him be the quarterback, that wildcat option. And then they're going to run a little bit of a quarterback QB power here on this play. What I like about it is that, again, Derrick Henry's best attribute is getting him in space. So they're going to pull number 55 here, lead block, and they're just going to kind of form a wall around here. They just want to get this right-hand side of the offensive line, form a wall, lead block with 86, let Derrick Henry make it happen. Get him in space. He accelerates around the corner through any type of lateral moves still almost as well as any running back in the league. And I love that little messing with the formation, allowing him to be the wildcat guy. Again, you see it here. They are just finding different ways to get him the ball in space. And when you can do that, add a little bit of window dressing as well, you're going to find that he still has the ability and the deep speed to take the ball all the way down the field. So what I mean by window dressing, if you don't know, is you add little things to the play. So right here, they're just going to bring a little end around fake. Just a little end around fake, and that holds some of the defensive players in this direction. And when you're running it to the outside, like Derrick Henry is about to, it's going to allow him many more rush lanes, many more different running lanes to look through. Just a little bit of a fake here, hold everyone back a little bit. See, look what I mean. Like, you've got this defender, some of these guys that got stuck on that little pitch around back to the wide receiver, and then he's in space. They can find ways to get him in space. He's going to continue to do this. And I know, again, that the Atlanta Falcons defense is second lowest in fantasy points given up to running backs this season. But Derrick Henry can score against any defense as many times as they want to. Get him the ball. That's what this is about. It's a showcase. The Atlanta Falcons are going to be a showcase game for the Tennessee Titans at home, coming off of a bye where, again, they need draft capital going forward. They know this isn't the year. They're going to be playing two different quarterbacks. I think that Derrick Henry could see 20-plus touches in this game. They're going to come out here and run a little bit of duo. It's going to look a little bit different than like inside zone. Inside zone and duo are often miscast for each other. Inside zone, you're going to see a much more horizontal. Everyone steps in the same direction and look for that horizontal offensive line shift. Okay, so everyone's kind of running to the right or the left, whichever way they go. Duo is a little bit more vertical, so you're going to get double teams here. You're going to get as many double teams as you can. The way that the Ravens come out here, they have to kind of single up some of these guys, so you can have two double teams here, and then a single and a single. And it's duo because you're going to see much more vertical push. So the offensive line does a good job here of getting rid of the guys up front. I messed that up. My apologies. You have the doubles here and here. Derrick Henry, as he always does a great job of reading and pressing. Okay, so he's going to get here. Number 6, this linebacker comes down. 0 comes down as well. And he's just going to find a way, press this gap, and then jump around it. So this is it's just what Derrick Henry does well. He accelerates, like I said, around that curve, around the offensive line, still better than just about anybody in the NFL. He's a fantastic play. I know against the Falcons it's going to be a little bit tougher, but I'm starting him everywhere. You got him. In the showcase matchup against the Falcons, the Tennessee Titans are looking to trade him, and I do believe this is going to be a game where he sees 20-plus touches and gets in the end zone once, if not twice. So, yeah, absolutely a must-start for me this week 8 in the NFL season. Next guy is Dalton Schultz, tight end 11 on Football Guys Weekly Ranks. This is a little bit of a different matchup for me. I wasn't expecting Dalton Schultz to be the guy I went to, but I went and looked at his numbers. He's got an 18% target share in Houston. Now with the news that Robert Woods is going to be inactive, it looks like, into Sunday's game, he becomes a much more viable player. 17 targets in his last 2 weeks before his bye. He's got the 10th highest average depth of target among tight ends this season at 8.2 yards. He's scored a touchdown in 3 straight games coming into his bye. And now Bobby Slowick has got the bye week to really scheme some things up and get him a little bit more involved. The connection with CJ Stroud is really developing, and the yards per route run over his last 3 weeks that he played was all over 2.7 yards. And for reference, there's only 2 tight ends in the NFL that have a yards per route run over 2 on the season. Travis Kelce, obviously at 2.92 yards, which is ridiculous. And Noah Fant, 2.06 yards, who's not really getting targeted much in Seattle. So a good player right now, and he's really hitting his stride with CJ Stroud. They're moving him all over the formation. He does also play in the slot, which is a benefit to most tight ends when you find you get a little bit of a size advantage, and then he's doing a good job of just being available to your quarterback. So CJ Stroud is going to get outside the pocket a little bit. He's just, Schultz is just running an in-breaking route here. So he's just going to feed it across the middle of the field. He's open, but CJ Stroud's looking this way. So what do? You got to find a way to get open. Runs that way, and CJ Stroud's going to feel a little bit of interior or outside pressure. So he's going to slip outside to his left. And what does Dalton Schultz do when he sees that? Get right upfield. Get me the football. I'm going to find a way to be the open target for you and find a way to make it work. And then he does a good job of grinding out some extra yards there after the catch. He's not known for his yards after the catch acumen, but I think that he did a really nice job against the Saints defense. One thing that you can continuously do with these size matchup problems is throw him the ball in some contested situations. If he's got really strong hands through contact, and this is a nice job of identification from CJ Stroud. You've got attached to the line of scrimmage with Dalton Schultz, and then he's just going to release outside quickly, okay? And these smaller guys, and Tyrann Mathieu, who is really kind of rejuvenated his career a little bit in New Orleans, he is behind the play here. A little bit of an underthrow, but Dalton Schultz does a fantastic job of coming back to that. He's been an end zone target and a red zone player a lot for the Houston Texans this season, specifically against the Saints that I watched, and I like what the different ways that they are utilizing him, bringing him on the field, off the field. They use all their tight ends. They use their fullback too. Right here is their fullback. They do a nice job of getting scheming a lot of different things up. And here's where that average depth of target comes into play. This is a dagger concept with a tight end and a wide receiver. That's not something you see a whole lot of. And I love what they're able to do here, bringing a whole mess of speed down the field to open up the middle of the field for Dalton Schultz. But again, they're going to do a good job of scheming this up with some window dressing. Bring in Robert Woods down here, who's going to end up blocking. They're going to use a little bit of a split zone action from the fullback, and then they have the play action fake. Watch these linebackers right here. They're going to get pulled up, and then it's a two-man route concept with Dalton Schultz coming over the middle of the field, and then there's that dagger concept. You see the deep route opens up the middle of the field against that cover 4 look from the Saints that ends up looking like cover 4 right here, which you can see all those defensive players, boom, 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 all those guys there. Looks like cover 4. He's going to open up that left-hand side of the field. Great job by scheming up Dalton Schultz here. And then there's the yak, man. I tell you, he had a good game in the yak department. So he's on the up right now with developing that chemistry with CJ Stroud coming out of the bye. This is Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud. I'm excited. I think there's going to be some fireworks in CJ Stroud out to prove, look, yeah, he was the number 1 guy, but I'm the best quarterback in this class. So no Robert Woods. Dalton Schultz is a must start for me this week against the Carolina Panthers defense, regardless of them being a little bit more middle of the pack in allowing tight end points this season. Last player for the day, Marquise Brown, wide receiver 32 on Football Guys weekly ranks. This is a big spot for him. It's his first game back against the Baltimore Ravens since he was traded to the Cardinals. He has a 27% target share in Arizona this season, and he's playing predominantly as an outside receiver, which is 82% of the time. He has his second longest average depth of target in his career at 13.1 yards. His previous high was 14 yards in 2020. He has 36.7% target rate against man coverage. The Ravens play man at the 8th highest clip in the NFL at 29%. That's huge. And in 5 of the 7 games this season against Baltimore's defense, a wide receiver has caught 6 or more passes. In a revenge game, a revenge spot for this player. I'm all aboard the Marquise Brown train. He's got the juice still, guys. Like I know he's not getting like the deep touchdowns like he was getting with Kyler Murray, who could be back this week. Another little intangible that might end up in producing more fantasy points for Marquise Brown. He was a full practice participant on Wednesday, but this is a really nice route. So he's going to release outside slightly against this zone corner, and then he's just going to accelerate right around his face. This is a sail concept, so they're going to motion Wilson out here, who's going to end up taking that to the corner. He's going to get the football, but this really should be a target to Marquise Brown as soon as he clears right there. Now Josh Dobbs is looking at the defensive safety right here, but I mean, he's going to clear it. I would love to see a little bit of just slight hesitation there and throw that ball down the field, but that juice is still there. I really love what I'm seeing from Marquise Brown in this Cardinals offense. They're doing a really fun job of scheming up Marquise Brown and all their players. Here we're going to see another dagger concept, and Marquise Brown is the apex receiver in this formation on the left-hand side, the stack formation that turns into a bunch. Really fun concept. This bunch formation is going to do a couple of different things. You have Marquise, who's going to release to the outside a little bit and slow play it, which allows Rondale Moore to use that, that vertical that vertical route all the way down the field. So you're going to see he's just going to take the top off the defense. And then what that does is, again, it allows Marquise Brown to work back to the inside and then open over the middle of the field. And DeMarcado here is going to run a little spot route. This is going to do a little bit of bringing this defense, again, underneath, lure them in just a little bit. And what does that do? It opens up the middle of the field for Brown. And the top being taken off, boom, you see that right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Underneath, those two defenders go to him with the eyes of Josh Dobbs. And with Marquise Brown being layered behind him, it gives the impression he's going to throw that to the check down. Instead, he takes it and layers the throw behind the defense to Marquise Brown. Great job in breaking route over the middle of the field. And then we get the actual route running chops of Marquise Brown, which are still fantastic. Doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, as a route runner. Just working Tariq Woolen. And what a throw by Josh Dobbs to the right sideline. You get everything from Marquise in this play. You get the burst off the line where he's going to be able to manipulate that corner. So he's trying to make him think he's going vertical. And then you see at the top of his route, he breaks down to the inside a little bit. That corner bites on it, and then he breaks out across his face, catches it, and gets back upfield. Draws the penalty, makes the play down the right-hand sideline. And again, what a throw from Josh Dobbs in front of that DB breaking underneath the route. Just a fantastic route. I do think that he's an underrated player in Arizona. And with Kyler Murray maybe coming back this week, again, this is recorded on Thursday. So if it's Saturday and he's already been approved or he's not going to play, disregard whatever it is. But I'm excited about the prospect of him playing against the Baltimore Ravens defense in a revenge game, a spot game with Kyler Murray coming back. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Absolutely must start player this week, Marquise Brown. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. I still love doing all these, even if I miss some players every now and then. And I'm looking forward to seeing how these players do on Sunday. I hope you enjoyed your college football Saturday, because get ready for Sunday NFL football. Have yourselves a fantastic day. We'll see you next time.